let's say somebody's watching this, right? And they're in the space, either or, but definitely specifically like the dumpster rental space, and they're looking into Google Ads. What's the kind of clientele that you guys like to focus on? Like, who's your kind of client avatar that you're like, this is a great fit if you're X, Y, and Z?
So like going through our discovery call questions where we're trying to make sure these people are even a fit, because a lot of people, they hear Google ads, they hear Google all the time, and they think, oh my god, I got to get on Google, I've got to spend this money to get to this point in my business, which is a mistake that I made early on in my own junk removal business. And so kind of first thing is we really prefer them to be somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 in gross revenue before they ever even consider working with a marketing agency, and we educate them in that way. The reality is you should be able to get yourself around that 15K in gross revenue mark by yourself without a marketing agency in most cases. One of the next things to look at outside of revenue is, how do you have a sales process in place? Even if you're just a one man show, like even if it's just you on the truck, what is your process when somebody calls you? What does that look like? And if they say, well, if I'm unloading a truck or unhooking a dumpster, I have to get out of the truck, I don't always answer the phone, then we start to get a little leery. But if it's like, hey, I have a headset on, I never miss a call, I answer every single phone call, or I've got someone in the office, they answer every phone call, then we look at moving forward.
Hey, what's up, guys? Blake from Top Dog Digital here once again with a special guest, Ronnie, who's actually been on the channel before. Huge fan of Ronnie and his company. They do a lot of great work. And for those who didn't see the original interview that we did, Ronnie, if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, man. So I'm Ronnie Knuckles. I'm the owner of Spearcrest Digital here in Louisville, Kentucky.
So Ronnie, you would think is my competitor, like marketing agency, having a marketing agency on. That is not how Ronnie and I operate. Personally met Ronnie a couple years ago, but we've talked probably for maybe 4 years now.
Yeah,
I really
something like that.
respect what they do. There's a reason I have them on here. And, if you're watching this and, Ronnie does work in the junk removal industry, not as much as he used to now, but definitely a ton of work in the dumpster rental side. And I know a lot of you guys either have junk and dumpsters or are solely doing dumpsters. So I just felt like, Ronnie and I, we talked about a month ago at a recent event for dumpster rentals, and it was just time to have him back on. So, Ronnie, one of the things we talked about recently was that you guys are actually doing Google Ads and you've had a lot of success there. And I know that you've kind of, transitioned. This isn't a new thing by any means or super new, but you guys have always been really good at SEO. And now you've
Mhm.
added that into your repertoire. So tell me a little bit about that and how that's going.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a journey. So we started running Google Ads, I think, almost a year ago now. So we started in June of last year, and we had kind of kicked around the idea for a long time. We looked at maybe, we had a lot of clients asking for it, and it was something that we knew we were good at the SEO side, and so we didn't want to bring something in that we didn't know for sure we were going to be good at. And so I was able to actually, we kind of grew our team. You'd mentioned it earlier, but like junk removal really gave us a huge kickstart. I mean, we still have a decent amount of junk removal clients, but we were getting to a place where a lot of the people coming to us were in the dumpster rental industry. And, we had tested some Google ads on the junk removal side. I own my own junk removal business. And so that's kind of our guinea pig. Anytime we wanted to test something, we didn't see a ton of success on the junk removal side. And so, expanded the team. Ryan, who is in the office with me right now, he was almost like a do whatever guy. Like he was cold calling people. He was doing whatever he could to help us grow. And I thought, well, maybe I can invest in him and we can learn these Google ads. So sent Ryan to a couple of boot camps, and we got to a place where we were getting some decent return on a test campaign. And so we were like, hey, we're going to do this. And so we got a couple, we did some free services at first for existing clients, and had some good success and started rolling it out. So we run Google ads now for dumpster rental exclusively. We don't have, we have a roofing client, I guess I should say. There are some other niches, but we don't focus on the junk removal side. And really, it's not because of the people in that industry or anything like that. It's just, it's expensive. Google ads is super expensive,
It
and
is.
sales processes have to be super dialed when it comes to Google ads. And there's a lot of disparity in the junk removal game, where it's like you might have paid $35 to $45 for that conversion and sold $100 mattress or $125 mattress. And, if things aren't dialed in well, you can lose money quickly. So we stick with the dumpster side. It's more of a fixed cost. And anyway, it's proven to be a great service addition to what we're already doing.
Yeah, I agree. You know that we ran Google Ads for forever. We still do for some junk Google Ads. I don't sell it anymore. I try not to sell it because
Yeah,
how volatile it is. Unless you're really
yeah,
spending a lot of money in the junk Google space, and you can kind of widen that gap. But
for
I agree
sure.
with
Yeah,
you. As someone who's also running Facebook ads for junk removal and doing Facebook ads in the dumpster rental space, when I'm looking at those conversations, it's just a different level of conversation, and the risk is lower. So like you said, a set cost. So you already kind of, and people understand the cost usually for dumpster too. Whereas for
right,
junk
right.
removal, a lot of people are like, do you do this for free?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, it costs that. And you deal with a lot of that. And when you have that, the issue is that on Google, man, you could be cost 40, 50, $60 a call in some of those markets. And if you're getting those
hmm,
calls on the junk removal side, that could hamper you. Yeah, that could be really bad.
right.
On the dumpster rental side, again, they kind of it's an understood fixed cost. They kind of know. So you eliminate a lot of those calls and you put yourself in a better position. And you know pretty much exactly what your return is going to be based on it's like, all right, hey, most of my dumpsters are $500, $400, okay, and my cost per conversion is this, and you have a set amount
Yeah,
there.
you
So
can bake it. You can bake it right into your pricing. Makes it a lot
yeah.
easier.
Yeah, and it seems like you guys are getting a really good cost per conversion on the dumpster side too, in comparison to junk removal. That's another thing that I've noticed from what I've seen from you guys. Your costs, and I know every market's different, so I don't want somebody to
Yeah,
think
for
like
sure.
one market's costs are theirs. But it seems like as a whole, and from my experience as well, cost per conversion on dumpster rental is lower in comparison to junk removal, which definitely
Yeah.
helps. You know.
And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head too. It's the clients are pre-educated before they call. And so I think there's something about that industry that allows that cost per conversion to be driven down. Like our goal is if we can get under 45 within the first 2 or 3 months, we know we're doing pretty good. We have plenty of clients that are, around 28 ish. But again, to your point, it's market driven, dude. I mean, a guy in Houston, Texas is going to look a lot different than a guy in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And so, um, but yeah, man, I mean, we have our set kind of KPIs that we look for. Again, it's very dependent on can we meet those goals? Yes, but the client has to be answering every single phone call. If they aren't answering the phone call, that slows down our ability to switch our campaigns over and optimize them correctly. So there are a lot of varying factors, but yeah, we are able to drive that cost per conversion down on the dumpster side, which makes us really competitive as an agency to be able to come in and say, hey, look, this is kind of our average across the nation, and in this market that's kind of like your market, we can not necessarily predict, but we can say this is what we'd be looking at according to this budget.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all a numbers game. No matter what
It
platform, no
is.
matter what you're offering, and if you're looking at it, when I run the numbers and I look at them, I'm like, all right, if we're at a $30, it costs us $30 to get a call, let's say, right? Then I'm understanding realistically, if my average dumpster is $400, to 4x that, I need to be around $100 cost per acquisition, give or
Yeah.
take, right? Now, if it's 500, I got a little bit more wiggle room for a 4x. So that means that at $30 a call, that okay, I realistically need to close one out of every three or so of these to hit that
Mhm.
$100 cost per acquisition. So, a lot of times when I'm on calls, and I'm not, neither one of us are on sales calls as much as we used to be,
I'm
but
on I'm on none nowadays. It's
yeah,
weird.
yeah, I'm on very little. But that's how I would explain it to someone. Hey, like I can't guarantee anything in marketing, but these are the average numbers. Is it realistic that we think we could close this amount to get this back? And if so, then we should be close to this number and we should be in good
Yeah.
shape. So it's all numbers. But let's say somebody's watching this, right? And they're in the space, either or, but definitely specifically like the dumpster rental space, and they're looking into Google Ads. What's the kind of clientele that you guys like to focus on? Like, who's your kind of client avatar that you're like, this is a great fit if you're X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, I mean, the first, so like going through our discovery call questions where we're trying to make sure these people are even a fit. Because a lot of people, they hear Google ads, they hear Google all the time, and they think, oh my God, I got to get on Google. I've got to spend this money to, get to this point in my business, which is a mistake that I made early on in my own junk removal business.
Hmm.
So we're very particular about making sure we're asking specific questions. So kind of first thing is we really prefer them to be somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 in gross revenue before they ever even consider, working with a marketing agency. And we educate them in that way. The reality is you should be able to get yourself around that 15K in gross revenue mark by yourself without a marketing agency in most cases. Now, in some markets, it might be a little bit different, but that tells me two things. One, that we're not going to completely cripple their business and they're not going to spend all of their money on us. And then, if there's a bad week or two, that we're not going to be the first ones to blame. And then it also tells me that they have the will and grind power to get themselves to a place where they're kind of self-sustainable. Now I know at 15K gross revenue, that's not a ton, right? Once you include all of those expenses, but it still shows me that hey, this person has built something where we can trust that they're actually going to be putting in some work. So we look at that. We hound our clients about answering the phone. If I ever have somebody come to me and they're like, man, it's been slow, the first thing I look at is we record every call. And if they've missed more than 5 to 10% of their calls, it's like, well, I can't answer the phone for you. And so one of the next things we look at outside of revenue is how do you have a sales process in place? Even if you're just a one-man show, like even if it's just you on the truck, what is your process when somebody calls you? What does that look like? And if they say, well, if I'm unloading a truck or unhooking a dumpster, I have to get out of the truck, I don't always answer the phone, then we start to get a little leery. But if it's like, hey, I have a headset on, I never miss a call, I answer every single phone call, or I've got someone in the office, they answer every phone call, then, we look at moving forward. So outside of that, that's the client itself. The next thing we look at is the market, because ads aren't a fit for every single market. And so we want to make sure, I've heard a lot of people say that you want a population of at least 100,000, but we've had good success in markets, around 50 to 75,000. They're a little bit easier, especially on the SEO side, but on the ad side, your volume isn't going to be as high. But as long as you're answering the phone, you can still get a decent return. And so those are kind of the initial things that I'd be looking at, before we would bring anybody on. That 15 to 20,000, closer to 20,000, the better in gross revenue. And then making sure that this person is someone who really wants it. Like it's not just, they're not looking for a reason to be a victim. Like they're grinding, like they want this and they're hungry for it. Those are the kind of people we're looking to work with.
Yeah, it's one of the things I really like about you guys and really any of the marketing agencies that I've built a relationship with. One of the main reasons is because I trust them and I feel like they have the best interests for the customer at heart.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
we all know when it comes to results, I think all of us, for the majority of people, are getting really good results. We're not going to hit 100%. It's not possible.
No.
And I
Yeah.
think all of us are transparent about that. But we're going to do everything in our power to do that. Or if we have a bad month, make it right and do everything we can. And I see that with you guys. I really do. And that's why I liked asking that question because it kind of shows your mindset, right? Like, I don't want to bring somebody on if we don't think either like if we're like their last ditch effort or like a Hail Mary, like we don't
Yeah.
want to take somebody's last dollars. We're the same way. Pretty much exact same frame. Now I've taken guys who have been less of that, but I'm like they're new and they're driven. I knew like they had
Yeah.
what it takes, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll take a risk on you. You're taking a risk on me, sort of deal. But if they've been in business for 5 years and they're doing $8,000 a month, I'm like, there's probably something missing, or there's a
Yeah.
hole that marketing's just going to expose. It's not going to fill it, right?
Right. And then you get to
Um,
take the brunt of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I get it. I get it. I understand. Like, I signed up to do something. I know we're gonna get blamed for some things. Okay, and I wear it on my sleeve. I do. There's times where I'm
Yeah.
stressed about that if someone's struggling. I think we've been in business long enough where we can pinpoint who the right people are. That if things are struggling, they can weather the storm, and we can weather it with them.
Yep.
And that's a lot less stressful. But I definitely, I feel bad when somebody struggles or they don't have what they want, even if it's on a short term, just because it's, like we want people to make money.
You want
We,
people to win, man. You want people to
yeah.
win 100%.
But I know you guys believe in that same thing. So, I guess last question, we'll make this one fairly quick for the sake of time for everyone. SEO, Google Ads, right? What are you guys looking at where you're like, someone's a better fit for one or the other? Or
Hmm.
is your focus kind of how can we get them to eventually do both? And I'll highlight that with this. I'll tell you on my end, a lot of times I'll have people who aren't ready for both Facebook and SEO. So what
Yeah.
I'll do is I'll come in and I'll start them on Facebook, try and get traction, and then hop into SEO within 3 to 6 months. So I'm curious if you guys are doing the same thing or how you approach that as well.
Yeah, I mean, similar. So we have a similar approach. I would say again, it goes back to the market in a lot of cases, and it kind of, in some cases, it goes back to the client. So sometimes we'll kind of leave it up to the client, but really, what we're looking at first is the market. So, say I've got a dumpster guy that comes to me and he's in a, let's just say he's 200,000 population, right? He comes to me and he's like, hey, I need more leads. And he's not really sure if he wants ads or he wants SEO. He's kind of like, hey, I'm going to trust you guys to bring something to the table for me. The first thing I do is I look at the organic side because I still think that foundational SEO ranking well in the maps and the AI overviews, the organic listing below the maps, this is going to be controversial maybe. I don't care about those if I'm being completely honest. You're maybe getting 5 to 6%. 5 to 6% of people are going down below the maps. There's so much above the maps and at the maps now that it's almost like information overload. Now, in a smaller market, it's much easier to get there. But if I'm in a bigger market, my initial concern is not those organic listings. I really want, not that we're not doing any of the SEO on the website. It's just that I want to focus on what's going to start driving the phone right now. So I will run a heat map. We use White Spark. We'll run a heat map. We'll use some broader search terms. We'll use dumpster rental or dumpster rental near me.
You don't
And then
build
we'll
your
use
own
some
heat
local.
maps and make them and create them yourself.
No, I don't.
That's an inside joke, and I'm not going to go
It is
there.
an
But
inside
anyway, I
joke. We
had to
don't have
do
to
it.
go there. Yeah,
Just
no,
keep going.
yeah, yeah. And then try to use them against other marketers. No, I don't. We don't do that. But White Spark is a great tool. I mean, and if anybody is listening and they want to know where they stand, you can go in there and kind of figure it out. But we try to start with like a medium-sized heat map. And if they're doing really well, like if it's mostly green, they're mostly in the top three, I know right away that at my SEO package is probably not going to be the greatest, right? Because they're already doing well in the maps. I may be able to move them up in the AI overviews. So I'll kind of take a look at that next. What does their website look like? Is it complete garbage? Or if it's decent, they have a blog, like it looks well structured. I will completely say, all right, these people don't need SEO. Like they're doing fine. Um, Now let's say that there are some opportunities right on the SEO side. Then ads, if they're not running ads, like I know ads can help them. And I know there's some opportunity on the SEO side. Now we look at revenue. So if we're doing 25 to 35K in revenue, they're a candidate for both services, right? And so then we'll move forward with that approach, and then they can kind of a la carte. Hey, we just want to do ads for now. Maybe we can roll in SEO later, or hey, let's do it all. Which we have plenty that are doing both and are having a lot of success. So we have specific qualifiers when it comes to that. If they aren't set up in organic, like if we pull that heat map up and it's orange and red and they're not doing anything, we start there. We're like, hey, let's get you ranking organically. Let's get that foundation. And then we can roll in ads in the future. Because if you can get a good foundation organically, you don't kind of get caught in that ads hamster wheel where it's like, if you want to make any money, you better spend it. SEO, I mean, you're going to pay your agency kind of that set retainer, but you can bake that into everything you do. Whereas with ads, it's like you want to make more, you're going to spend more. And so there's a time and a place for ads. We like a good foundation on SEO first and roll them in. If we can roll them in together, then I mean that's great for us because we do well at both. It's really good for our clients, but we know that there's maybe 15% of clients that we're currently working with that are doing both. So,
About the
um,
same for us as well.
yeah. So organic first, that's what we look at. But ads is a great supplement if they're qualified, and also it's a great way to get going if they're already doing well. It's a great way to kind of pull that next lever and help them drive in more revenue.
Yeah, and I'm sure budget goes into play with that too, right? If they're like, let's say
Sure.
they're at 20,000 and they're like, hey man, like I've got enough for the next 3 months, but I need some stuff now. Then they might be like, all right, let's run Google ads because I could get you
Sure.
the quick thing, and then we probably we're well known for Facebook, you know that. So a lot of
Oh
times
yeah.
people are like,
You guys
they call
dominate.
us
You guys
wanting
are so
Facebook,
good at it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but down the line, I'll usually be like, look, if you're not doing something for SEO, like us, these Ronnie, Lewis, like these are companies that, do SEO. And obviously, I don't know what markets you guys are in sometimes. So I'm like, you'd have to ask around.
Yeah.
It's funny. Lewis and I just had a conversation with the same guy. And I was like, hey, I guess I shouldn't say names, but I was like, hey man, like Lewis is great. Like go work with them. And then he's like, well, Lewis is telling me to work with you. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's how we
Yeah.
operate. I was like, you're
Yeah.
good on either selection. I was like, Lewis and his team are fantastic. So then I messaged him and we kind of laughed. I was like, you told him the same thing I told him. And he's like, I don't know what to do now because you're telling me to go to the other place.
That's
The
funny.
poor guy's probably like, why don't you want me? And it's like, it's
Yeah.
not that we don't want you. It's because we like that other person. We believe in them. But
Right.
all that to say, these scenarios, they all play, an impact in that. And I was curious how you guys look at it. Sounds like it's similar to us. So
Yeah, for
ultimately,
sure.
man, I think I love what you guys are doing, man. You know that. I had a lot of fun meeting your team and hanging out with you
You're the
guys.
only guy. You're the only marketer. I mean, I've been talking to Lewis forever too. You're the only one I've actually gotten to meet in person twice now. So
I know,
it's
I know.
great meeting you guys.
I'm not gonna hit the next one. I noticed it's in September.
Hmm.
Which it's funny. The last one was my girlfriend's birthday, and then that one's my birthday weekend. And we
Ah,
were like, okay, we're not going to do an event this time. We actually we're setting up some travel, but I'm sure I'll see you soon at the next
oh
event or
yeah, we'll
something
run
coming
into
up.
each other.
But I think when it comes to that industry, man, I love what you guys are building and other industries too. You're great. I'm not pigeonholing you by any means, but
No, dude, it's completely
if
fine. That's what
you're
we're
in
known
that
for.
industry, I'm looking at it like right now, man, like you got to talk to Ronnie, whether it's SEO, whether it's Google Ads, pick his brain and see where you stand and what's going to help you the most. Because I guarantee most of the people here would probably prefer some form of marketing if they're not doing it right now, and they would have an area to grow. And I'm not saying you have to 100% do marketing, and Ronnie would probably mimic that with me. Not everybody
Yeah,
has to do marketing, but if you want to get to a certain level, at some point you're going to need some form of marketing, depending on what that
yeah.
level is, right?
It's
So
definitely a piece to the puzzle.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And it helps you grow if you're with the right team and a team that really, you can believe in, but also is really going to work hard to put you at the best possible spot for growth. So
yeah.
we appreciate you over here, man. I love having you on here. I'm sure I'll probably have you on here again next year at some point. We'll make this a yearly
No,
occasion. But
I love it, dude. I'm greatly appreciative of it, dude. And how, yeah, you said earlier we're competitors, but I've never viewed you that way. I think
yep, same.
we've been able to build a good relationship and learn from each other. And so, no, I'm very appreciative of you having me on here, dude.
So I'll put it in the description, man. What's the best way that people can find you guys if they have a need for your services, which I'm sure some people do.
Yeah, so a lot of people reach out to me directly on social media, Ronnie Knuckles, or they can go to Spearcrest Digital. That's our main Facebook page and Instagram page. It'll have the logo, the SC, or they can go to spearcrestdigital.com and reach out, fill out a form, or give us a call, whatever, on the website.
Okay. Well, I'll drop that in the description. That way, make it easy for everybody. But outside of that, Ronnie, I know you got to run. You got things to do on your end. You're a busy guy. So thanks for giving us the time, man. And if you guys have any need for service, Ronnie's your guy, guys. I'm telling you, he does some great work. So there's a reason I have him on this channel. So thanks again, Ronnie.
Thanks, Blake. Appreciate you, brother.
Yep.